Howdy everybody, and welcome to another video about my life in Japan. I'm trying out a slightly different video format this time. I recorded a bit of my drive to the airport from my apartment, and I wanted to talk this time about what it's like driving in Japan. So, the biggest difference, obviously, for anyone living in the West is that you drive on the other side of the street. That was what I thought was going to be the hardest thing to get used to, but surprisingly, because all the other cars are doing it and it just is always there, it's one of the few things that I adapted to relatively quick. I have had two times late in the evening when there's no cars on the road where I have turned out of a parking lot into the wrong lane and then was corrected by my passenger that I had done it. But beyond that, it's just not been anything I've had to think about too much. The biggest thing that I keep getting wrong is that the blinker is on the other side of the wheel. So frequently I will go to hit my blinker, and instead of turning on my blinker, I will activate the windshield wiper. It's probably the thing that happens the most frequently while I'm driving in Japan. So this is the main highway in our city of Inan. Right now, we're driving through one of the villages that incorporated to create Inancho. This is Kijima. It is the kind of the centermost village of the five villages that there are. And each village kind of has its own little hub of activity. So they all have an A-Coop for grocery shopping. Most of them have a community center, and then one or two restaurants. So on the left there is the A-Coop that I usually do my shopping. That is my post office in case a package is missed and I have to go pick it up. And you can see it is not a very big city. It is relatively small. It takes about maybe 30 seconds to a minute to drive all the way through it. This stoplight here is basically the end of the city before we get back to another stretch of open road on the way to the next city, which is Tanbara, which is where I work most of the week, 4 days a week. So this is actually my daily commute, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Another kind of interesting thing about driving in Japan is the roads are actually all skinnier. Like the actual lane size is only slightly larger than the car. So all the roads feel closer together compared to in America, where it feels like you have a little bit of road space. You could potentially, kind of swerve a little bit inside of your lane to avoid something without going into another lane. There's not that much space to do that in the roads for Japan. It's also much, much slower than the roads in America. The speed limit is 50 kilometers per hour, which is roughly 30 miles per hour. Um, so everything just kind of feels much slower and more constrained than driving in America. Granted, most people don't follow the speed limit. Very frequently, I see people that are driving 60, 70, 80 kilometers per hour on this road. But that is what the posted speed limit is. Uh, Another kind of interesting thing about the roads in Japan is because of the heavy rainfall that Japan experiences, they have very deep gutters everywhere along the sides of the road. Um, these gutters are actually wide enough that your tire wheel can fit in them. So when you're driving on places that don't have sidewalks, like right here, you have to be careful not to go too far to the side of the road because it might just be, you might just you'll get stuck. The other for ALTs will sometimes call them gaijin traps. And the hardest, the most troubling part of them is in parking lots because if you're backing up, you have to be really careful not to back all the way up because a lot of the parking lots on all sides are surrounded by the gutters. So it's just something you kind of have to be aware of and keep your eyes out for. The general vibe when driving is much more relaxed, at least out here in the countryside. As you can see, it is not very populated out here. The roads are a lot more empty when I'm driving around. So it has never really felt like traffic has been bad or I've had to worry about uh, other drivers all that much. Um, the etiquette is a little bit different out here, where you will pull to the side to let the people pass around you at these various stopping points. They also, it is illegal to use your cell phone, but they have pull aside places for cell phone uses with signs to mark it. So, like, there will be a place where there's just a gap in the sidewalk, and the expectation is if you want to use your cell phone for a bit, play music, make a phone call, whatever, any cell phone use, touching the cell phone, you are expected to pull aside during that, take care of whatever you need to take care of, and then pull back out into traffic and continue driving, which I think is kind of a neat difference in driving etiquette and I guess road construction it's built for that. So you can see right here on the where is it? Never mind. I misremember where we are. Um, the other things kind of that I can think of that really stand out to me, the traffic lights markings are a little bit different. They're much further back from the intersection than in America. I think, again, because of how skinny the roads are, it's to give more space for you to be able to pull out and turn right across lanes of traffic. So, like, um, you don't have a straight line of this is where you stop for the light. Every lane from the left to the right gets progressively further back away from the light so that someone who's coming from the cross traffic that wants to turn into your oncoming lane has the space to do that more easily. We just drove by the ski resort. That was that yellow arch if you go back and rewatch. And we are coming up here in about another minute or two. We will be coming into Tanbara. So I'm not entirely sure what all the stuff on the side is, little businesses and industries. There are only a handful of restaurants and shops, most of which are inside the different city centers across Inan. So all of these buildings on the sides of the highway are presumably factories or commercial buildings of some sort. Something else that has been taking a little bit of getting used to is parking. The average parking space for Japan is built for their smaller K cars. So the parking spots are a little shorter than what I'm used to, and I'm driving a full-sized Subaru. So very often I have to kind of be careful and picky about where I park because it's very easy for me to pull into some place that if the other spots are taken, I'm never going to be able to pull out because there's only enough space in the parking lot between the two rows of parked cars for a smaller, more squat vehicle to make its turn. Japan is also fairly consistent about parking, that everybody backs into their parking spot as opposed to pulls into it, which I find interesting. At least in far as like public parking in stores and stuff goes. And here we go. This is Tanbara. It is the northernmost city town in Inan, and where I teach. You can see my school up on the hill to the upper left there. That is the middle school and elementary school that I teach at. So this is my daily drive to work. I hope you enjoyed seeing what it's like driving in Japan. And if you have any questions or want to know anything else, feel free to leave a comment down below, and I'll be happy to answer them either in the comments or in a future video. Have a great life. Bye.